Hi, I'm Jake, 32, and last year I accidentally faked my own death. Yeah, I know how that sounds, but hear me out. It wasn't on purpose. One wrong text, a nosy neighbor, and suddenly I'm missing somewhere off the coast of Florida. It all started when my girlfriend Sarah said she needed space. You know, that word that sounds innocent but feels like someone just unplugged your entire life support. So I did what any emotionally unstable man with a truck and too much time would do. I drove. No plan, no GPS, just country roads and bad ideas. I ended up at this rundown beach town called Bayview. Population, me, a drunk pelican, and a bait shop that sold ice cream out of a cooler. I figured I'd crash for a few nights, clear my head, maybe fish. Then I posted one stupid picture on Instagram. Just my truck keys and a sunset with the caption, "Gone for a while." Next thing I know, my cousin texts me, "Bro, are you alive?" Apparently, Sarah thought I'd driven into the ocean. Local news picked it up. There was even a candlelight vigil with people I didn't even like lighting candles for me. So there I was, hiding in Bayview like some kind of retired action hero, sipping bad coffee from a gas station and trying not to get recognized. But apparently my luck isn't just bad, it's cinematic. The first clue that things were about to get messy? A knock on the door of my motel room. I peeked through the cracked blinds and saw a kid, maybe 12, holding a notebook like he was about to interrogate me. "Are you Jake?" he asked wide-eyed. I froze. "Depends. Who's asking?" He looked disappointed. "The news said you disappeared." "My mom watched the whole thing," I sighed. Great. Now the local gossip machine was operating at full capacity. I invited him in anyway. What else could I do? Turns out he wanted advice on how to fake a disappearance for school project purposes. Kids these days, right? While we were talking, I noticed the beach outside. Something glittered in the water. Curious, I grabbed an old pair of binoculars. My jaw dropped. There was a small boat, half sunk, with a figure tied to it, waving frantically. Kid," I said, pointing. "Do you see that?" He did. His eyes went wide. "Is that real?" Before I could answer, a siren wailed in the distance. And just like that, I realized that my accidental death had attracted more than just concerned neighbors. Someone, or something, wanted me found, fast. And that's when the real trouble started. And that's when things got complicated. By the time I made it to the beach, the boat was gone. Just a few floating planks left, and a single sneaker spinning in the waves. The kind of scene that makes your stomach drop even before your brain catches up. The cops showed up minutes later. And guess who was leading the search party? Detective Linda Harrow, my ex's aunt. Yeah, the same woman who once told me I had the emotional depth of a traffic cone. Perfect. She squinted at me like I was a ghost she didn't order. "Jake Lawson? You're supposed to be dead." "Yeah, about that," I started, but she cut me off. "Do you have any idea how much money we spent on that search operation?" "Technically," I said, "I didn't ask anyone to find me." Her glare could have melted asphalt. Then just as she's about to arrest me for being an idiot in public, a call comes through her radio. They found the half-sunk boat again, 2 miles down the coast. But here's the kicker. There were 2 sets of footprints leading away from it. Linda looked at me, suspicion written all over her face. "Jake, you know anything about this?" "No," I said, but that was a lie, because I'd seen that same boat 3 nights ago, parked outside my motel, with a man sitting inside it, a man wearing my old jacket, and now he was missing. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was playing a twisted game, and I was the main character. That night, I stayed awake in my motel room, listening to the wind whistle through the broken window. Every creak of the floorboards felt like a footstep. Around midnight, the door handle rattled. My heart did that cliché thing where it leaps into your throat. I grabbed the nearest weapon, a broom. "Who's there?" I barked. A shadow slipped inside. My first thought, great, the psycho from the boat. But no, it was Sarah. Yeah, Sarah, looking like she'd just walked out of a thriller movie. Leather jacket, drenched hair, and eyes that could start a forest fire. "Jake," she whispered, We need to talk, but not here. It's not safe. Safe? I scoffed. I've spent the last week faking my death. Safe is not exactly the word I'd use. She ignored me. Someone's after you. Someone who knows about everything. Your disappearance, the boat, even your old college debts. You're in way over your head, I blinked. Wait, college debts? That's really specific. She gave me a look that made my stomach twist. It's not just debts, Jake. They know about the research. The Manowar, or whatever he was, smiled. And not the friendly kind, the kind that makes your stomach tie itself into knots. Jake, he said, voice eerily calm, we need to talk. I raised my hands instinctively. You're me? Not exactly, he said, tilting his head. Think of me as a version of you that made different choices. I laughed nervously. Right. Sure. And I suppose the Pelican is your sidekick? He didn't flinch. Instead, he held out a small device, my old flash drive, blinking. Project Halo. You hit it. I found it. But we both know it's not just about research. It's about control. And someone else wants it. Fast before I could ask who, a black SUV screeched onto the pier. Men in suits jumped out, carrying briefcases that looked heavy enough to break bones. Sarah appeared behind me, whispering urgently, Jake, we don't have much time. You trust him, sort of, but not them. And that means you need to move. Now the man, my doppelganger, nodded. I'll cover the back. Follow me and don't look back, adrenaline surged. One wrong step, and the project, and my life, could end right here on Pier 9. And just like that, the chase began. We ran along the pier, dodging crates and jumping over slick patches of wood. The fog swallowed sound, but not fast enough. The SUV screeched, tires squealing, and the men shouted in voices that sounded far too organized for a beach town. Sarah grabbed my hand. Jake, listen! There's an old tunnel under the lighthouse. I've been here before. It leads straight out of town, I didn't argue. My doppelganger covered our rear, moving with a precision that made me feel like a rookie in a video game. Every shot fired, and yes, they fired, clanged off the pier rails, missing by inches. We dove into the tunnel, the smell of salt and decay filling my lungs. It twisted and turned like a labyrinth designed to confuse anyone pursuing us. And somewhere in the shadows, I realized something terrifying. The man I thought I could trust, my copy, knew exactly where every exit and trap was. He had been planning for this for a long time. Finally, we burst out of a hidden exit near the cliffs. The SUV skidded past, tires throwing gravel, but we were gone. I leaned against a rock, chest heaving, trying to process everything. Sarah looked at me, eyes fierce. You just survived your own death and ran from someone who's literally you. Think about that, I laughed. Sort of. My voice caught in my throat. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong next? Then I noticed the flash drive in my hand. It blinked once, a single red light. And that's when I understood. This was far from over. We hid on the cliffs until sunrise, the ocean stretching endlessly below us. The adrenaline was fading, replaced by a gnawing dread. That flash drive wasn't just a key to Project Halo anymore. It was a beacon. Whoever wanted it wasn't giving up, and now they knew exactly who I was. Sarah sat beside me, pulling her knees close. Jake, you're not just running from them. You're running from yourself too. I frowned. What do you mean? She gestured at my doppelganger. He's a reflection of choices you didn't make. And trust me, there's more than one version out there who will stop at nothing to get what you have. I looked at the horizon, the sun painting the sky gold. Somewhere out there, my double was probably planning the next move. Somewhere out there, the people who wanted Project Halo were closing in. And somewhere in the ocean, Bayview was waking up, oblivious to the chaos that had unfolded on its pier. I clenched the flash drive. My life was a mess, my death a legend, and my future, if I even had one, was a battlefield. But one thing was certain. I wasn't going down without a fight. Ready? Sarah asked. I nodded. Let's make them regret ever crossing me. And just like that, the chase was far from over. But for the first time in days, I felt alive. Really alive. The cliff's edge, the ocean below, and the rising sun, it all felt like the start of something new, something dangerous, something unforgettable. The game was on. The cliff was quiet now, the ocean waves crashing below like a heartbeat. I held the flash drive tightly, the object that had turned my life into chaos, and finally felt a sliver of control. Sarah stood beside me, her expression a mix of relief and determination. We can't stay here, she said, but we can make this right. We can end it, permanently. I nodded, realizing she was right. Enough running, enough hiding, the people after Project Halo, the doppelgangers, the lies. It all had to stop. We devised a plan. Using the flash drive as bait, we lured my double into a trap we set in an abandoned warehouse near the docks. The confrontation was tense. He mirrored my every move, anticipated my every decision, but he underestimated one thing: my resolve. When the final moment came, the doppelganger hesitated, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. That hesitation was all I needed. We secured the flash drive, and with careful precision, we disabled the tech that could have caused untold chaos. As the authorities, real ones this time, arrived to investigate the mysterious happenings, Sarah and I slipped away, battered but victorious. I looked at her, finally able to laugh without fear. Well, that was insane, she smirked. You're telling me. But somehow we survived your fake death, and a man who was literally you. Not bad. For the first time in months, I felt free. No running, no hiding, no doubles chasing me. Just the ocean, the rising sun, and the knowledge that whatever came next, we'd face it together. A week after all the chaos, I returned home, to my old neighborhood, where every street corner reminded me of a life I supposedly lost. But normal life no longer existed. People looked at me like I had miraculously come back from the dead. Sometimes I wanted to tell everyone the truth, that my disappearance had been pure chaos, and that my life now felt like a thriller with moments both ridiculous and terrifying at the same time. But I stayed silent. Silence had become my new shield, and there was a constant shadow of fear. Even though my double had vanished, I felt him in every mirror, in every sound of the night. Even in sleep, thoughts of Project Halo haunted me like a ghost. We sat on the roof of an old garage, watching the city wake up. The air was fresh but heavy with memories of everything that had happened. Jake, Sarah said, you know your life will never be normal again, right? I smiled. I know. But if we're together, maybe we can turn it into something good. Maybe even meaningful. We exchanged a look, both funny and sad at the same time. My experience with the double, the chase, the fake death, and the betrayals had taught me one simple truth. Life is chaos, and we can't control it completely. We can only choose how to act in it. And so we sat there, watching the horizon. Life was moving forward, and now we were ready for whatever came next. Not as victims of circumstance, but as people who survived their own catastrophe and came out stronger. But amidst the chaos, I found something I hadn't had for months: support. Sarah stayed by my side, and that was more than any escape, any adrenaline rush. It was real. And maybe, just maybe, life could be normal again. But deep down, I knew one thing for sure. Some stories, no matter how wild, leave a mark you can't erase. And this one had changed me forever. We ducked into an abandoned warehouse by the docks, the smell of salt and rust heavy in the air. The flash drive hummed ominously in my pocket. Whoever had been after it before had escalated, and now it felt like the entire city could be watching. Sarah pressed herself against the wall. Jake, they're organized. This isn't a random attack. It's strategic. I stared at the shadows. Every instinct screamed that we were about to be cornered. And then a single spotlight snapped on. Figures emerged, moving with precision. Silhouettes of people who could have stepped out of a military briefing, not a small-time operation. And there at the front, holding a tablet that mirrored the flash drive, was a figure wearing a hood. I couldn't see their face, but their presence made the air electric. "Welcome back, Jake," the voice said. "We've been waiting for you." I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the moment. This was no longer a chase, this was a showdown. The kind that could change everything we thought we knew about Project Halo, my double, and the people pulling strings from the shadows. Sarah gripped my arm. "Are you ready for this?" I looked at her, then at the glowing flash drive. "I don't know if I'm ready, but I have to be." And just like that, the game had begun again. Bigger, darker, and far from over. The warehouse was silent, except for the faint hum of the flash drive in my pocket. The hooded figure stepped forward, revealing a face I didn't recognize. But the eyes, sharp, calculating, almost too familiar. "Jake Lawson," the voice said, slow and deliberate. "You've caused quite a stir." I took a deep breath, trying to steady the adrenaline roaring through me. "Who are you?" The figure smiled, just enough to unsettle me. "Let's just say, I know a lot about you, about your double, about Project Halo, and about what you think you've escaped. But escaping isn't the same as surviving." Sarah tightened her grip on my arm. "Jake, we can't underestimate them. They've planned this for a long time." I nodded. "Then we stop running. We face this head on." The hooded figure paused, then slowly raised a hand. "Good. I was hoping you'd say that, because the next move, it's going to change everything, and there's no turning back." Outside, the first light of dawn crept through the cracked windows. The city stirred, oblivious to the storm we were about to unleash. I glanced at Sarah. She gave a determined nod. I clenched the flash drive and straightened. "Let's do this." And with that, we stepped forward into the unknown, ready to confront the shadowy forces that had been hunting us, ready to finally take control of a game that had started long before I ever faked my death. The fight for Project Halo, for survival, and for the truth had just begun. The warehouse felt like a trap, every shadow stretching unnaturally across the cracked concrete floor. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Sarah whispered, "Jake, whatever happens next, we stay together." I nodded, gripping the flash drive like it was the only thing keeping reality in place. The hooded figure stepped closer, their face finally revealed, partially hidden by a mask. But the eyes, and they mirrored someone I knew, someone I thought was gone. "You've survived," the voice said, "but surviving isn't winning." "Not yet," I swallowed, trying to calm the rush of fear and adrenaline. "Then tell me what it takes to win." The figure tilted their head, almost amused. "Clever, brave, ruthless, but most of all, ready to make choices that could change everything and everyone you care about." Sarah's hand found mine. "Jake, it's now or never." I looked at the flash drive, the pulsing red light reflecting in our eyes. And in that moment, I realized the real danger wasn't just the people hunting us, or my double, or Project Halo. It was the game itself, and it had just revealed its first true rule. Nothing is what it seems, and everyone has a role, including you. I tightened my grip. "Then let's play." The figure stepped back, disappearing into the shadows. Outside, the city woke, unaware that a storm had already begun, and that the next move would decide who survived, who fell, and who would control the secrets hidden in Project Halo. The warehouse was now a chaos of shadows and light. Figures moved like predators, precise and silent. Every step we took echoed off the concrete walls. My heart was pounding so loud I thought it might give us away. "Jake!" Sarah hissed, pulling me behind a stack of crates. "They're coordinating." "Look at them, like a hive. This isn't random. It's organized." I peeked through a crack. Dozens of silhouettes were moving with military precision, eyes glowing faintly under the dim warehouse lamps. They weren't here to negotiate. They were here to take everything. My hand went to the flash drive. It pulsed faster now, almost like it knew danger was imminent. The hooded figure stood at the center, watching us, almost enjoying the tension. "You've got guts," the figure said, voice calm but deadly. "But guts aren't enough. Choices matter more," I swallowed. "Then we make the right choices." Sarah looked at me. "Right or wrong doesn't matter anymore. It's survival." We fight or we die. I took a deep breath, adrenaline surging. We sprinted across the floor, diving behind crates as the shadows closed in. Shots rang out, ricocheting off metal, splintering wood, and for a moment, everything slowed. My instincts took over. Every leap, every roll, every breath was calculated. Somehow, we made it to the other side of the warehouse, near a loading dock. Outside, the city's early morning fog mixed with smoke from the first explosions. I could see escape vehicles waiting. Fast, black SUVs with tinted windows. "Jake," Sarah said, "we have a choice. Take the risk and run, or face them head on." I looked at the flashing red light of the flash drive, the symbol of everything at stake, and for the first time I felt the weight of responsibility, not just for us, but for everyone who could be caught in this storm. I clenched my fists. We don't run. We take control. Right here, right now. The hooded figure tilted their head, almost amused, bold, reckless, perfect. But remember, the first move doesn't always win the game. And then, from the shadows, another familiar face emerged, one I never thought I'd see again. A cold smile curved across their lips. "You didn't think it would be that easy, did you, Jake?" I froze. Recognition hit like a punch. This wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. This was personal, and just like that, the storm escalated. Bigger, darker, and far more dangerous than anything we'd faced before. The explosion hit before I could even react. A blinding flash that tore through the center of the warehouse, throwing Sarah and me backward into a pile of shattered crates. My ears rang, the world a blur of smoke and chaos. Through the haze, I saw them. The hooded figure still standing, untouched, like the blast hadn't even happened. Around them, their team moved with eerie precision, communicating with hand signals, sweeping through the debris like ghosts. "Jake, move!" Sarah grabbed my arm, dragging me behind a fallen beam, just as bullets tore through the space where we'd been seconds ago. I reached for my backpack, fingers fumbling until I found what I needed. The EMP grenade. One press, and it would kill every electronic signal in a 50-foot radius, including the flash drive. I hesitated. If I used it, we'd lose Project Halo forever. If I didn't, we'd lose everything else. Sarah saw the indecision in my eyes. "Do it, Jake." Before I could respond, a voice boomed through the smoke. "You still don't understand what you're holding," the hooded figure said. Their voice echoed from every direction, like the warehouse itself was speaking. "That drive doesn't contain data. It contains access." The red blinking on the flash drive changed. A rapid pulse. Faster. Faster. My stomach dropped. "Access to what?" I shouted. The figure stepped forward, smoke swirling around them like a living thing. "To what created you." For a second, everything stopped. Even the gunfire. I blinked. "What did you just say?" The figure pulled back their hood. The sight froze me in place. The face beneath was mine. Older. Scarred. Cold. Sarah gasped. "Jake, what?" He smirked. Project Halo wasn't just a military experiment. It was a mirror, a replication protocol, designed to copy human cognition into code. You were the prototype. I felt my throat close. "That's not possible." "Isn't it?" the other me said. "Think about it. The gaps in your memory, the dreams that feel like someone else's life, the reason they were hunting you from the start." Sarah looked between us, horror dawning on her face. "Jake, when was the last time you slept?" I couldn't answer. My mind spun. I remembered fragments, static-filled dreams, voices whispering numbers, the feeling of waking up different. The flash drive pulsed brighter. The other me smiled. "You see it now, don't you? Project Halo isn't a weapon. It's a doorway, and he pointed straight at me. "You're the key." Sarah reached into her jacket and pulled out her sidearm. "You're lying." He didn't even flinch. Then why is your gun coded to him?" She froze, looked down. The biometric scanner on her weapon glowed faintly, reading Jake's signal, not hers. And that's when it hit me. Every decision, every chase, Every so-called escape, it wasn't random. It was programmed. I clenched my fists. You think I'm going to let you control me? He smirked. You already did. The moment you picked up that drive, the flash drive beeped. A deep hum rose through the concrete, vibrating the floor beneath us. Sarah grabbed my arm. Jake, we have to go. But I couldn't move. Something inside me, some instinct, told me the truth was just seconds away. The older me stepped closer, holding out his hand. You can't destroy it, Jake. Because if you do, you destroy yourself. The hum turned into a roar. Lights flickered, sparks flew from the walls, and suddenly the world split. Images overlapping, glitching, two realities bleeding into one. Sarah screamed, Jake! As the floor gave way beneath us. We fell, through smoke, light, and static, into something that wasn't quite real and wasn't quite a dream. And through it all, I heard his voice, calm and cold. Welcome to the source. I woke up gasping. No pain, no air, no gravity. Just a flicker of white light pulsing in every direction like I was floating inside a heartbeat. The air, if you could call it that, shimmered, humming softly, alive. Sarah wasn't there. The warehouse was gone. My hands looked real, but when I tried to touch my chest, they passed through me, dissolving like smoke. Then a voice, his voice, echoed around me. Welcome home, Jake. I spun around. My other self stood a few feet away, perfectly still, as if frozen in time. Behind him, hundreds of holographic panels hung in the air, each one showing fragments of my life. Childhood birthdays, college, the night Sarah and I met, even that first chase through the city, except they weren't memories. They were simulations. Every scene tagged with numbers, data points, timestamps. This isn't real, I would, my voice breaking. It's more than real, he replied. This is the source. The neural archive that stores every iteration of you, every failed version, every decision branch, every possible outcome. I stepped closer, staring at the panels. There were hundreds of me, some older, some younger, some dead. My pulse hammered in my chest. Why would anyone create this? He smiled faintly. Because they wanted to perfect humanity, to eliminate chaos, fear, death. But every model by every Jake made one fatal mistake. I hesitated. What mistake? He leaned forward. You fell in love. The words hit harder than a bullet. Sarah's face appeared on one of the panels, laughing, sunlight on her hair. I reached for her, but the image flickered, glitched, then vanished. I turned to him, furious. Where is she? He stared at me. She's outside the source. Real. Alive. But if you stay here, you'll never see her again. The panels around us shifted, now showing Sarah running through the collapsing warehouse, calling my name, surrounded by fire and smoke. Then send me back, I shouted. I can't, he said calmly. Only you can. You have to choose what kind of man you'll be, the one who breaks the cycle, or the one who becomes the system. Suddenly, alarms blared through the white void. Code streams raced across the floor like electric veins. The older Jake looked around sharply. They found us. The program's collapsing, walls of light began to shatter like glass, revealing flashes of the real world. The burning warehouse.